We'll call the March 14th, 2023 Carroll County Public Service Authority meetings to order. At this time, I'll ask Mr. Collins to lead us in the.
Sorry. Father, thank you for this opportunity to be here today to do the business of the county. Pray that you'd lead us and guide us and direct us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda is citizens' time. First speaker I have is Ron Shelton, is that correct? Okay, come on up.
How are you guys?
Doing good, you?
Good. I'm here to talk about a driveway issue from 2017. I don't know if anybody knows anything about it. But anyways, you guys ran a pipeline down Gambetti in 2017, all the way back in 2017. Driveway wasn't replaced correctly in one spot. They tore up, basically it's a driveway that comes down, they patched the driveway, which looks fine, I have no problem. But they didn't pave back where my mailbox was, and then right along the roadside, there was a paved, like, parking spot. Best way to put it. Either way, they stone and tarred it and cut it short from what it was, so I can no longer use it. I tried to argue this back in 2017, didn't get anywhere. Ended up getting the contractor that did it to come back out. He told me he would come by with a load of asphalt. That never happened. Then I contacted PSA again, and I was told that the case was closed, or whatever it was, that was the case. I'm just looking to get my driveway paved.
Have you got pictures of that?
From 2017?
Yeah.
I could probably dig through them, yeah.
Have you got an address? What's the address?
1858 Gambetta, Gambetta Road. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the patch that they did there. This was asphalt, and then that's the parking spot down there.
Say 185.
1858.
Huh?
1858.
1858, you said?
Yeah.
Is that what it was after?
That's things were just taken recently when you called me, not doing the project. Tell me. Let me see.
Okay. That work went through right there, right there.
See, these are recent.
Oh, okay,
These weren't during the project. These were what Westland took after he had called.
okay. I'd make a recommendation that we just take it under advisement and get out and chance to look at it. I mean, my biggest thing is we're 7 years into it, you know. And, just let staff come back to us next meeting with, you know, recommendation.
I think it's a good idea to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Didn't follow on this account.
Okay, next on the citizens' time is Oliver McBride.
What was that guy's name? What was that guy's name?
Good evening. Oliver McBride with the Fuller Center for Housing. We're getting ready to build house number 4 at 441 Coon Ridge Road, which is next to the house we built it in 2021. We've got a group of folks from throughout the country coming again to help us do a blitz build. So within the given week of April the 29th through May the 6th, we're going to build a house. As you all know, the Fuller Center for Housing is like a Habitat for Humanity. The same man started both organizations. He left the Habitat group at about age 70, decided he wasn't finished with doing houses for people who need affordable housing. And so he started Fuller Center for Housing. We're a covenant partner group with that group. Folks make application, they meet income guidelines, they pay for the house. It is not free. It is at zero interest, which we are excited we're able to offer that. But typically, these are going to be people who would not qualify for any kind of a normal bank loan. And again, I'd come to you just to ask for your assistance with regard to the hookup for the water. You all were grateful in participating in 2021, and we'd love to ask that you participate with us again this time. Be glad to answer questions you might have.
I'll make a motion that we do that for.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second from Rex. Start the voting with Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
I serve on that board of directors, so I abstain from that vote, from this vote.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you all very much. That's great.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next I have the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda, A, B, C together, or if you want to separate it.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, sections A, B, and C as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Moore to have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Crawl. We'll start the voting with Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
Mr. Collins.
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, next we have new business. Mike, I'll let you.
Okay. First item we have is the committee for Exit 1 at the last board meeting. There's quite a bit of discussion about the issues with the sewer plant at Exit 1. The board voted last time to form a committee, and what we're asking from the board, if a member of that, of the board would like to serve on that committee.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for anyone who wants to serve on the committee for Exit 1.
I make a motion, we place Tracy Moore on that committee.
I have a motion for Tracy Moore to have a second.
Sure.
Second, and I'll start the voting with Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Abstain.
All right, and I vote yes.
Thank you. The next item we have is discussion of connection fees. There's been quite a bit of discussion over the last couple of years about the cost of connection fees. The current connection fee for water and sewer is $3,000. We're in the process we still have several connections that were going to be made through the grant. Any existing one, we would still charge the $3,000, or if they've already made one. I guess I just want to bring up to the board if there was a desire to lower them. We did run a cost estimate on what it is. It's approximately, without labor, which surprised me, it was $1,000 for water and $550, somewhere around that, for a sewer hookup, because sewer is more labor intensive than what water you can pump it anywhere. Sewer, it's got to drain down. So if the board would like to look at the possibility of reducing those, I would want to go from this point forward for anybody else that, if there's a desire, just for you will know, if we were to hire a contractor at a current rate without bidding it out again, you wouldn't be able to do it. The rate that we're paying would just about, you wouldn't be able to lower it. We're breaking about even on what, if we have a contractor install them. So for us to move forward with lowering the rates, we would need to do these in-house. So I guess I'm just opening up for discussion if there's desire. 3,000 is considerably a good investment for somebody that wants to put water and sewer in their home. So, and I've mentioned it before, I think 3,000 is high, but when you
6,000 for both.
6,000 for both. So I mean, is there a desire to look at these closer, or to lower them in any way?
I think we need to consider lowering them, whatever we might need to try to do. Do we need to just go ahead and do it, or can you throw us a number that you might think? You said 1,000 for water, for material?
And you do want to be a little bit higher, and you do want to try to cover some of your costs, because not everyone's exactly the same. That's just the materials for water, and that's your setting, your meter, your transmitter, and everything you need, and in the sewer, it's the same. If you had to pay for a bore or something like that, that gets into a different, but we try to do everything in-house anyway. You know, you know, 1,500 to 2,000 would be, to me, a fair number.
If you feel like that's where we need to be, I just make a motion that we set it at $1,500.
Is that for water and sewer?
Water and sewer, yes, sir.
Have a motion for $1,500 for water connection and $1,500 for sewer connection. Do I have a second?
Hang on a minute.
I was just gonna bring up one question. Can we make it so for all new applications?
All new
Yes,
applications, yeah.
Want to amend that motion for all new applications?
If we have to do a board, is it extra?
We can do them most of the time in-house. Sewer is a little different. I don't know if we can really, I don't think we can bore underneath the road. We'd have to saw cut it, so we'd have to have somebody do a bore. You know, with the cost, if we do these in-house, then you really have some room to play, especially on sewer. Now, water, we can shoot underneath the road most likely.
I'll make a second, but just to get it discussed.
Okay, second by Mr. Moore.
One thing that I have a question on, and which I don't know if it's something that can be done, but is there some kind of, you know, if we set them up, is there any kind of clause for like circumstances that could change that? Because I know we got asbestos lines that require somebody to come in and tap it, or, you know, we're not set up to do that, you know, just to, or is it something that is just, it is what it is for everybody?
I mean, we can word it as a standard tap or something that way. A lot of times what we'll
Because a
do.
plastic tap's a heck of a lot different than a cast iron or
Yeah.
asbestos.
That's correct.
That's my biggest thing is, you know, you don't want to get into where you're losing a lot of money on an asbestos tap.
Yeah, I guess can we bring something back with something written up saying that, extraordinary circumstances or something like that? What we do.
That's just my discussion topic. I mean, it's whatever.
Well, I think if that's the case, if we're gonna have to come back with something like that, then it needs to be done on a bare cost basis. You know, what it's gonna cost us to do it. If it's a tap, you know, if we've got extenuating circumstances where it's an asbestos tap,
Right.
or if we hit a absorbent amount of rock or anything that's along that line, I think we need to work it to where that will be done on a cost plus basis, you know, something along that
You just
line.
never know what's underground.
Never know what's underground.
But, I mean, and that's a pretty big lick dropping it from 3 down, you know.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable being there at 1,500 for?
Well, 1,500 is a good savings for the person, you know. Every time we do a tap, it just means that there's less revenue for us. but it does
Well, I'm
create
okay with,
overtime
I'm
revenue.
okay with that part of it versus we're getting that customer for the long haul,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
So we gotta do something to try to get it to that.
The best way to sustain your system is to get more customers.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
So you're not going to, the individual taps and those type things, that's, you know, long-term growth is where you're gonna see improvements in your system.
Right.
Or like if it's a large tap, though, how does that work out?
Well, these
Them
are
are pretty much not
Residential.
big deal, you know, if it's 8-inch or 6-inch, it's the same saddle, same deal.
Okay.
I don't think that would affect it.
I think
Correct.
on the water side of it, I think it's mainly 3/4 and down.
Yeah, we have a different rate for 1 and up anyways.
So, we've had, once in a while, we have somebody want to do a 2-inch tap for residential service, and there's additional cost because the meter costs different, you're using a different box, those type things. And then it's based on that.
Well, I was thinking about over at next to the water tank, we was gonna do a 6 or 8 inch tap there for that.
But that's different because this would just be a three-quarter, I mean, I'm
Standard.
assuming, three-quarter residential tap, right?
We need to
The
put
one
that
is
in.
3,000 now.
Well, why don't we just back up and I'll rescind my motion
I'll rescind my second.
and let's just, at our next meeting, why don't you all present us some numbers?
Okay.
Let's do that. And present us the numbers for everything and we'll go that way and then maybe work in something for extenuating circumstances.
Okay.
All size tap.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on from there to the fire hydrants.
Okay, we have been having staff go out and we don't have there might be a report in your, in here with a list of taps that have been checked. I mean, list of fire hydrants been checked. I don't know why I've got tap on my mind, but fire hydrants have been checked. There is a good list of them. We have been ordering parts. We got a few in there today. One of the biggest issues we've had is getting parts for them. So we're working on 2 books so far, and a book is an area. So we're working, and this falls into another item we've got on down here, the GIS. One of the things that we're working with IT, is to update our GIS so that we can get we're able to go out, check a hydrant, or do some type of work and be able to track it. Right now, we're doing, the guys are going out, they're filling out a form, they're checking them, filling out a form, bringing them in, we're entering into a book, taking an aerial of it, and then keeping track of it that way. The fire hydrants should be marked with a out of service, and if they've been checked, there's a green little ring or a little
Tab. It's
Tab.
a little
That's
lime,
put on.
lime green.
so.
And the one at Allison Chapel
And the one at Allison Chapel Church has been fixed
today.
Again,
today.
Today.
again.
So hopefully,
Why does that keep blowing up?
Now, see, we hadn't got the parts in for that one. We just had got the parts in for that one. So we'd ordered them back and
Well, see, I didn't know that. They went to it the other day and
it had an out of service on the
should have.
cover them up or bag them or something. Because they wasted a lot of time.
I mean, it has a little round, the things we have are round and they say out of service. Is that not sufficient?
No, put 'em back.
How easy is it to see it? That would be my thing.
Very hard.
If you're coming down the road at 35, 40 mile an hour, how easy is it to see it?
So you'd rather have a bag than an out of
Yeah.
service?
Cover them.
Okay.
That way they'll know. Because that way they might see it going, and that way they don't go back to it. Because I know trucks passed that the other day. And then run up there and
Yeah, they had
But they're
it.
supposed to glow, but that don't mean that they
I don't
do.
mean nothing.
Okay, so we'll quit putting out of service and go back to bagging.
All right. Any more questions about that? Next item, lead and copper inventory. We are in the process, we're working with one of our as-needed engineering firms. They're putting together an application to do the inventory for lead and copper. Lead and copper is a rule that came down that in the next, I think, 2026,
Yeah, but we have to have an inventory.
I think it's 2025, we got to have an inventory, then we got to start the process of looking at replacing lines. And there's money out there for the inventory, and then there's some money out there to do the repairs, to do the lines. So just to give you an update, we're looking at doing the lead and copper inventory. We're going to apply for a grant that pays for the research to do that. If so, then we'll go through based on whatever the cost is and do the inventory. It's something that we need to do.
Is Hillsville doing that now?
I think so.
They've sent their letter out, they're trying to, that's how they're approaching their inventory to start with, is by letters, hoping that customers will send in or fill out the survey if they have lead and copper in their homes and their service line.
And I think our responsibility, and I could be, if I say something wrong, I don't mean to, but the lead and copper, our responsibility is to the connection to the line. Okay, so inside the home, it's not. So what we're doing is looking at the GIS files for anything that's prior to 1985. 1985 could have the possibility of having lead lines. So we'll go back there, and then hopefully the next step, we'll go out and physically look. That means you'll have to probably spot dig at the line to see what kind of lines run into our system, and then we'll check them that way.
Hills was asking for what's on the inside of the house.
Well, I thought it was talking about what stubbed out the wall that you connected to, was the way I read it.
That's the way I
And
read
it might
too.
be.
It really, in the house, had nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
But I think there's some funds out there to help the person that owns a home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be a different than what we're looking at. Okay, and just let you know on a project update on Exit 1, Regional Wastewater Project, we had our first phone call meeting with the funding agency. They had a preliminary meeting. That was January the 31st, and that gets that's the first step toward the process. Okay, so then it gets into we're kind of in a hurry up and wait. We're waiting for Winston, North Carolina DOT and Virginia DOT to determine which parts they're going to do. From my understanding, it's just a matter of working out who's going to be the financial agent for it. Either which way, we should be able to be partnered in that process. So we're waiting on some more information. But as of right now, we did receive that grant. Again, in your package, you got general updates. Next item is Exit 1 DEQ. We met with DEQ on March 13th. We received our draft consent order. And the way that works is the consent order is sent to us. We had a in-person meeting in Abington with DEQ and went over the consent order. And it gives dates, times, things that you got to do. It gives you tells you what the fine is for it. What we'll do is get together with the engineer and then with everybody and give a response. We'll ask for a decrease in the fine and then timeframes. Some of the things that were in the consent order is doing overall cleaning the plant, resetting the plant. A lot of the things that we're already working on. There should be I'm wanting to say there's a list in here of items that we've already been accomplishing at the plant. We've put new lighting in. We've made sure everything was running. We're still having issues with clogging. Hopefully in the next week, I'm going to say 2 weeks, we're supposed to have the documents for the screen and to bid out the screen and bid out the electrical. The 3 phases on the pole, but we've got to do the other part. We're going to have to run the conduit, and then you have to run the line down to the wet well. Some of the recommendations was to look at on the wet well at Exit 1 and see if we can joist the floats, but there's really not a lot of storage in it. Resetting the entire plant, meaning draining all the sections out and start from scratch and getting new bugs, those type things. So there's a wealth of things we're going to end up starting to do.
How much is the fine currently?
$45,000. Hopefully it'll go down, but we'll have to wait and see. Any other questions?
Exit 1, how far away is that? Getting it hooked to the North Carolina side?
we have to, it depends. If Virginia DOT participates, then we'll run it to the backside of the Welcome Center. I don't know the exact footage off of exact footage, but if not, then we'll go up underneath the interstate, and then we'll make a left and go up through there and tie into the backside of the North Carolina Welcome Center.
Okay.
But I can send out if the
Not really much difference in footage. The biggest thing would be it would help with the cost of Virginia cooperative.
yeah. But we did receive the grant. The grant is it's around 2.6 plus loan at 0.5%, and there is some. They don't know the amount yet, but there is some principal forgiveness. So hopefully it'll be less.
But that will cover it.
Today, we don't know. I'll just be honest with you, with the way that today, probably not. Maybe next year it might. It's just, things are crazy. I mean, they're having a hard time getting people to bid on projects right now. There's so much out there, and, you know, we're pretty fortunate that when we can. Search grant, we're still at the same spot we were, just waiting for the report. SCADA, we did receive 5 RFPs. The committee, I've sent them out to the committee. We're going to evaluate, and hopefully we'll get this information in by Friday, schedule a interview with them. So that process is moving forward. It appears that the bids came in for the amount that we had budgeted, less than the amount we had budgeted for in our ARPA redistributed funds. So it looks like it's going to be a project we're going to be able to move forward with.
And that's gonna get everything.
It's 20, I think it's 20 existing sites and 16 other sites. So we did a tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 were the sites that we had service at one time at. Tier 2, we're adding it to existing pump station wells, those type things. So it's going to accomplish, hopefully it will accomplish, you know, about 36 locations.
And you got Hillsville Sewer update?
Hillsville Sewer, yes. The traffic plan's been approved. Working with Hillsville. Hillsville's going to reach out, and we're going to schedule we're going to have a crew come in and bring the truck with the barrier on the back of it in order to do the work there. So we're just trying to coordinate that as right now. Last time they did run water through the line, they did see water come out into Hillsville's system. So there's a plus here, okay? But hopefully, you know, each time we're hoping it's the last one, so keep your fingers crossed.
That was pressure or gravity. They seen water come out.
What we're doing is putting in at exit 14. They're running a fire hydrant to it, and they're seeing flow come into the gravity side, where it goes into the gravity side of Hillsville system. At the top of the hill there, down just a little bit, I think there's those apartments there. There's a little sign there. I think that's where they're checking the
Okay.
thing. So something we ain't had yet. So it's a good start.
We got the price worked out and everything.
We have sent them a contract, and they're still waiting. From last I heard, they're bored, but it's right around what we've discussed. It should be a savings from what we're paying now.
Okay.
Water sewer grants?
You have a list of them in your packet. We're still continuing to put some in. We're waiting on some. We have one connection for sewer that we're looking at doing, but we've ordered the pipe and just can't get the parts yet.
So there's a grant for 100, and we have 100
Second.
Have a motion from Mr. Moore, who's the second? Rick?
Rex?
Okay. I'll start the voting with Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Moore, and I vote yes. Okay, next on the agenda, do we have any old business?
Nothing we haven't already covered.
Okay. All right, that'll bring us to authority members' time. Mr. Jessup?
I haven't got nothing. I just thank everybody for what they're doing. And, did we get any more employees hired, or what are we doing? Last time we was here, you had 3.
We're fully staffed right now for what we have budgeted.
I don't think we've had Michael. didn't
We
have that
might,
one.
yeah. We
They
hired
hired
one
one.
more. We had one leave and we hired one more. He is new. Hopefully, that he is going to go within the next, I guess, this next month and get his CDLs. He had his CDLs before, and he has a learner's permit. It should work out. We need somebody that can drive a truck. We have a large truck that we can't even pull around because of, we don't have an employee that's licensed to drive it. So, but we do. We're full staff now.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay, Mr. Collins?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Hill?
I don't have anything either. Just appreciate everything, doing all the work that's being done so we can spend money.
Mr. McCraw?
Just appreciate everybody and the work that they're putting forward, and just things seem to be going pretty well, and I just, it's pleasing to see such progress being made. And I would like to thank Dr. McBride for everything that he does for the Fuller Center. He serves as the president of the board of directors, and he puts a lot of time and effort into it. And that build he was talking about is the first week of May, actually, and there's going to be people from all over the United States here working, and they'll build that house in a week, pretty much. We have to have the floor system there for them, and they'll build it in a week. So it's out on Coon Ridge if anybody wants to come by and help at any time, or to just observe what's going on. It's worth the time to go out and watch them. And that's it.
Mr. Moore?
I would, ditto Robbie's, thank you, Mr. McBride, for what you're doing. It's exciting to see that somebody else will enjoy that home. So that's a good thing. I do have a couple of things I would ask if the authority would, I guess, work with me to try to continue to get staff to look at a project over on 100. My mic's off, I apologize. On the lots down through there, if that would be something me and Rex had spoke about it in the past, down through where Virginia Ousley's got down through there.
Yeah.
Just continue to direct staff to maybe look to see what we could do to get water down through there, because I think them lots are up for sale, and some of them's been sold and gonna be developed, so I'd like to see what we could do down through there. And, secondly, we was talking about dropping the rate for a connection fee. What is the status right now, Dana? Have we got a lot of applicants coming in, or is it,
We do.
so it's exciting time as far as that goes?
It's, we've got all of our applications in for the grant ones, but we've had, I bet, just in the last couple of weeks, we've probably had 6 or 7 connections coming in,
Okay, good.
water
Yeah.
connections.
Good. And I guess lastly, was just talking about Mike with the ARPA money that'd be left over from the RFPs for the SCADA. Is that something that will go back to the board, or will it stay with the PSA, or?
What most likely will happen is, as we go through the process, if we tweak it to where it needs to be, the board has put that money back, but yes, that money would, in order for us to use it for any other purpose, it would have to go through the board again.
Okay.
So that would
So,
free
so
up
it would be
some
something that we could do another grant program if the board of supervisors so chose to send it back to the PSA, but that would be the process, correct?
funds. Yes.
Okay. And I guess lastly, I know we're getting down into the nitty gritty of when that ARPA money has to be spent. Is there going to be time?
the money the redistributed funds, doesn't really have a time limit.
Okay.
Okay, these funds, that's where the money came from. It originally came from that. However, we spent that, and that money's been other funds have been put into it to be used for that direction.
Okay.
So
I
what
just
this
didn't want it to get to be an issue, because like I say, I'm on that board with the skate, and I know we're reviewing and everything has to be done the 17th, and you get into June, July, if we was gonna be in trouble.
No, we're fine with that.
Okay, well, I guess, lastly, just thank staff and employees for all they're doing and the authority for their time and work. So,
Okay, I'd like to echo Mr. McCraw, Mr. Moore. Thank you, Dr. McBride, for everything you're doing at the Fuller Center. Greatly appreciated. I am excited to see, hopefully we can reduce the hookup fees some for the citizens. And other than that, I just thank Mike and Dana and staff and all the employees for your hard work. And with that being said, I have a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Motion by Mr. McCraw, to have a second.
Second.
I start the vote, Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
yes.
and I vote yes.